The rules for this run are simple. We can't move one of the bunnies with its own controller inputs. This means we'll be moving him by grabbing or kicking him. Essentially, this challenge is just one big escort mission, and who doesn't love those? It's worth noting that the levels in co op are the same as single player, but having to get an extra bunny that can't move, as well as trying to bring the carrot with us, adds a lot of complexity. For the first level of this run, I used a yellow bunny, so I can't move the pink one on its own. Nothing too interesting happens since there aren't any obstacles in this level, so I just drop off the pink bunny and go back for the carrot. I'll come back to every level later to try the time attack because for whatever reason I just assumed they were all impossible. I should not have. After the first level, I decided to use the pink bunny from now on because it starts behind the yellow one, which is better for grabbing. Additionally, I changed the controls to make it so I couldn't input any movements for the yellow bunny. Level 2 offers nothing for difficulty, but that doesn't mean I can't mess up this jump multiple times. But I eventually make the jump and get the carrot. Level 3 showcases how rolling is our main method of movement. Where you grab changes how you roll, and if you jump while grabbing, you can add momentum and extra control of where you land. Also, moving away from the second bunny is generally a bad idea since the screen zooms out but not enough to see what's in front of you, and eventually it stops. The way to get the carrot is pretty much the same as last time. The only noteworthy thing on level 4 is trying to get the other bunny in the portal without me. Level 5 is basically the same as level 1, in that we go all the way to the end and then all the way back to the beginning to get the carrot. The biggest difference being trying to get player 2 in without us coming with them so we can actually go back. Level 6 introduces us to spikes. The first ones are easy to avoid, leaving the only complication being trying to get the bunny and carrot down from the hill. Going back up is difficult, but by kicking the yellow bunny down, we can make it so he avoids the spikes and simply bring the carrot with us. Level 7 is officially the point where this run gets challenging. To get both the carrot and the bunny down the hill is fairly difficult and requires us to separate from the other bunny at the start. I could consistently do this by grabbing the yellow bunny's tail and rolling one full time and rolling again roughly halfway until the yellow bunny's weight was pulling down and letting go so I wouldn't fall along with him. Then jump to the other platform and over the spikes like you normally would. Grab the carrot and let it go in a way that it falls down the hill. Grab onto the side of the platform in a way that you are in the air and so you can angle yourself to land on the left of the hill so we can bring our favorite bunny along with us. Often, the carrot gets stuck on the hill. If it's high enough, we have to either grab it on our way down or roll into it so it comes down with us. Other times, the lowest it will go is low enough for us to jump to it anyway. Our next major roadblock are these spikes. Jumping over them with the added weight of the other bunny is tough, but if you time and angle it right, you can still do it. Something I wanted to try to see if it would make this any easier was to use the carrot to my advantage. You can use this before the spikes to get a higher starting point, or better yet, put it on top of the spikes. This way, when you jump, you can safely touch the carrot instead of dying to the spikes. This leaves us with the final obstacle. We have to get the bunny or carrot in the portal before us. The spikes make this much worse. The first time I got this far, I threw the carrot in and completely messed up the jump in the dumbest way possible. After many, many, many attempts, I finally make it back to the end. This time, I messed up throwing the carrot, which cost me this attempt, and convinces me to try a better approach. This time, I kick the bunny into the portal, which will allow me to easily jump in myself while holding the carrot and without worrying about the minimal extra weight it provides. And with that, the few hours I put into this level are behind me. Or not. Okay, it didn't count for some reason.
Mwahahaha.
I figured the carrot not counting has something to do with me getting in the portal at the same time as the carrot, but I decided to play it normally again just because I feel more comfortable beating the level that way. Whoops. This time I tried to throw the carrot, but I settled on placing it on the spikes when I messed up throwing it. So now I'm just playing around a problem I shouldn't even be having, and it's just making this so much harder. Once again, I try kicking the yellow bunny and grab the carrot to go in with me. I keep panicking because I usually die one or two times before I get here, and I was thinking it'd be more likely that the glitch doesn't happen again than me needing to try something new. I was wrong. Finally, learning from my mistake, I throw the carrot in first, and I'm not risking anything, so I spend much longer than I need setting up the perfect kick before jumping in myself. Please work, please just work. Yes. Level 8 has a few obstacles as well. The first one is a pit of spikes that we have to cross 3 times, twice going to the right, and one time going back. Getting the yellow bunny across is much harder than getting the carrot across since the yellow bunny is heavier. There are a few ways I did this, but the main way was to roll into the spring and let go so that the yellow bunny would hit the spring alone. A better way to do this that I found out later is just to kick the bunny over the pit. After getting both the bunny and the carrot over the pit, the last real challenge is to get past the spring without getting hit by the spikes. The best way to do this is just to hold on to our on-moving ally. Our combined weight makes it so that we don't bounce enough to come even remotely close to the spikes. Then we can easily go back to grab the carrot and go on to the next level. Once again, we find ourselves trying to outwit a pit. And once again, there are a few ways to cross it, with the best way being to kick the other bunny right over it. The difficult part comes into play right after the pit and where the two springs are that try to make us fall. But we won't let a little spring ruin our day, because if you're falling between two walls, you can continuously grab onto one side while resetting the position of your feet to get maximum height, let go and jump at the same time, and quickly grab onto the wall. Congratulations, you're a centimeter higher. Repeat this process until you get back up. That technique only comes into play if you messed up enough to need it in the first place, and this part isn't that hard to beat by throwing yourself at it since it's not that far in the level and easy to get to that I don't mind doing that over and over. This small hill is more of an annoyance than an obstacle, but the end is actually kind of hard since we have to line up a kick on a sloped surface to get the other bunny in the portal. I managed to do this the first time, but now I have to go back for the carrot. This makes the hill and spring somehow more annoying than before, and eventually I die, meaning I have to do the hill and sloped kick all over again. But after a few more attempts, I make the kick again and get back over the pit. With those out of the way, collecting the carrot and finishing the level is easy. In the final level of the first world, we need to make a vertical jump with the other bunny. The best way to do this is to grab onto his feet or close to them so that his arms are sticking out or his head lands on top of the upper platform. If he's holding onto the platform, you can go back and grab his head to pull him up with you. After that, we have to make another similar jump. This time, it was more convenient to grab him by the head, but this usually isn't the case. We can use the same spring tactic as before to get past this obstacle. But this is where the real fun begins. Getting the other bunny or carrot into the portal alone isn't exactly straightforward, especially for the bunny since he's too heavy to bounce without him moving himself, and that's obviously against the rules. The solution I found to this problem was by kicking him into the spring, we could get him into the portal. Instantly, there's another problem. We need to find a way to get up the slope and jump over these spikes. But there's an even easier solution to this one. Just jump off the spikes. For some reason in this game you can do that. So with that, we can easily get to the carrot and go on our way to the second world. The first level of the second world is fairly effortless. The only issue is trying to get either the bunny or the carrot in the portal alone. I managed to do this on my third attempt, which is pretty fast in comparison to many of my recent levels. Level 12 looks a bit tricky when it comes to getting the carrot, since we have to either get the bunny or the carrot across the spikes, but it works out pretty well because instead of throwing the carrot off the top of the platform, we can plainly let it slide down the ramp and it'll make the jump. And as long as we hold on to our bunny buddy, both of us will make the jump too. After that, there is nothing left that can kill us, so this level is as good as complete. Level 13 is the easiest level we've had in a while by far. There's only one easily avoidable way to die. We can kick the bunny into the portal so we don't accidentally join him and go back for the carrot. And that's it. Golly gee, I sure do hope the next level isn't hard to make up for this. Level 14 only has one real obstacle to overcome. We have to get the other rabbit over these spikes, and jumping over them doesn't work out too well without one or both of us dying. But if a carrot is put on the spikes, you can safely walk along it. Setting up a good position for the jump is a bit annoying, but easily manageable. Whether you kick the bunny at the bottom of this slide or grab onto him, you have to ensure that you influence his movements in some way so that he can get across the spikes. Going back for the carrot is a little harder than usual, since you have to jump at a weird angle and on ice. When recovering the carrot, we have to be extra careful not to touch the spikes, so I intentionally grab it from the left, and from there on, we can bring it to the end. Level 15 is hardly worth mentioning. The only place you can die is around these springs by falling, and as long as you hold the other bunny in a way that he's reaching forward, rolling up is pretty easy. And from there, you can get the carrot like a normal multiplayer run. At first, I ended up beating this level without the carrot and moved on, but not too long after I came back, so for the sake of chronology, I'll show it now. But what made getting this carrot so tough that I had to skip it at first? For starters, we have to jump off this ice slide to get to the carrot. To do this, we have to line up a way to roll both me and Craig onto the platform so that I can jump and Craig can stay on without hitting his head on the tunnel and not falling into the spikes. Finding a consistent method to roll onto this platform in a way that I can jump up where Craig stays alive is actually a lot more difficult than I thought it would be. After many tries, I found a few ways I could do it, like putting him on first and rolling over him. Even when I managed to get both of us on, it would usually make setting up the jump to get to the higher platform more awkward, or I'd just straight up miss. Using a variation of the rollover Craig method, I finally make the jump, which means I can grab the carrot. Now, we can bring it along by sliding on the ice. When you first land, make sure to kick at least once for speed, and once more at the edge, so you can get past the spikes. We need to get everything up this small gap. I decide to get the carrot up first, so it's not in the way of the more precise jump. Getting the bunny up is more dangerous, and like I said, more precise. I make sure to grab him by the feet so his arms stick out, and by rolling to the right while Craig is over my head, letting go of the right arrow in favor of quickly pressing the left one will move us forward just a tiny amount. By doing this multiple times, we can get closer to the jump while remaining in the correct position to actually make it. We have one last hurdle in this level. We have to go down this ice slide on a block of ice, and that's usually bad enough with just the other bunny, but this time we have to bring him and the carrot. Mix that with little room to move around in, and you get a real hoot and a half. We need a way to hold the bunny and carrot during the fall so we don't all get split up. I tried to set this up on the higher platform because it has more room, but it usually results in the carrot just falling. I set up the yellow bunny to lay down looking away from the slide. This way, I can give him the carrot and grab his chest so the carrot won't fall out when we roll together. Now, it's time for the moment of truth. Will we make it through the slide? And we finally made it. Heck. This time, after the jump over the pit, I let go of the bunny so the carrot gets in slightly before I do. Level 17 is another easy one. The only part we need to be careful with is the ice slide. During the loop-de-loop section, it's hard to stay on the ice since instead of holding onto it like in a normal playthrough, we have to hold on to the other bunny instead. And during the tunnel section, we also have to make sure that we're holding on to the other bunny low enough so that we can actually get through the tunnel without hitting our head, which would stop us from going through it altogether. Fortunately, the carrot is after this part, so we don't have to try to bring it down the ice slide with us. Level 18 is hard, but more importantly, time consuming. For example, getting up the sledge rarely results in me dying to the spikes, but usually takes a long time thanks to the ice. The ice slide right after that is easy to survive, but we have to do it every time we retry the level. After that, the portal is in view. We can kick the other bunny in, but it's easy to accidentally join him instead of getting the carrot. And that means redoing this first part all over again. On one of my many attempts, I accidentally kicked the bunny in a way that he's in front of the portal, so we have a little bit of a buffer when trying not to be pulled in ourselves. Now we can make our way up to the left and eventually get the carrot. And then we can accidentally fall and drop the carrot. On one of my particularly long and careful tries, I get the carrot and now I'm determined not to repeat my same embarrassing death. So I know patience is the key to success. Let me just use a little patience here and it'll be fine. Yep, just gotta. Maybe if I just. This time I get through without the carrot getting stuck, but I'm not willing to risk another carrot glitch, so I make sure it gets in before I do. In this level, we have to start by kicking the other bunny over these ice ramps without letting him fall. The most dependable way to do this is to kick him into the wall so he can't slip off the ice. Then we can kick him to the other ramp, preferably in a way that he doesn't slide off this one too. Or just make sure that you block the way when he goes there. The much more daunting obstacle is trying to get both of us up to this other platform. This is a bit tricky to do, but after a while I found that if you get the other bunny above and time a kick correctly, it's possible to get him up there and easily follow him without the added weight. The tricky jumps don't stop there. After a couple of annoying slopes where we have to go left instead of the usual right, we have to find a way to get the other bunny to the higher platform. On my first attempt, after growing tired of no progress, I tried to kick the other bunny to the left platform, so after that I could kick him again to the right, but only managed to kick him off. Angling this jump is a nightmare and is what makes this level take so long, especially with multiple attempts. After a few attempts and many more minutes, I managed to angle the bunny correctly so I can jump over to the next area. But this level is nowhere near done with us. We have yet another tricky obstacle to overcome. We need to safely get Craig over these spikes. After spending more time trying to set this up, I make sure Craig is sitting up so I can kick him in an arc to have him go over the spikes and land on the other side. This zooms out the camera, making a jump actually harder for me, and I fail. Yippee. Don't get me wrong here, it's not that I don't love repeating this jump, but the worst one to have to redo is by far this one. It can often take minutes to make this one jump, and trying to impale the snowman's head in the spikes to make them less lethal only proved to waste more time. Eventually, I get to the same progress as before, but unfortunately, I find myself in a similar situation. After even more tries and fails, I finally make what should be the easy jump and can finally appreciate LEGO Indiana Jones 2 split screen. Now I can finally move on to our next issue, but with a well-timed kick, the other bunny can go up that ice hill much easier than I anticipated. Now we can face our semi-final obstacle. We need to have enough accuracy and power to get Chad up the slope and in this portal. Kicking can get him high enough to reach the same level of the portal or above, but doesn't get him to touch it. I try to push him up and kick him midair, but this ends up being too hard to time properly. I try many things and a lot of the same thing, but eventually put Craig in a sitting position while I push off as fast as I can, as well as angle the jump in a way to bounce him off the wall and into the portal, to finally get him in. Now, all I have to do is make my way up and get the carrot without accidentally falling in the portal first. That shouldn't be too hard, though.
Don't mess up, 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 don't mess Hi. Don't mess up, don't mess up, don't mess up, don't mess up.
Now, all that's left to do is get the carrot and myself into the portal, with the carrot going in first, just in case. The beginning of level 20 is made easier since Craig's not moving. But now we have to face one of the biggest obstacles in this whole run. We have to get all the way up this slope with Cool Craig. At first, I was thinking this was impossible and incredibly frustrating, but it's only the latter, because if you're quick and change the angle at which you jump and don't hit your head on the ice when you first turn, you can make it. It only took me 4 minutes, but I did it eventually. Fortunately, the other bunny can be kicked up this next slope. After that, I generally had to fall back down to the start and kick from there to get enough momentum. Just be careful not to knock Crazy Craig off if he's holding on to the side. From there, make sure that after you knock the snowball down, you pull it as far right as possible to make it so the next jump is easier. Try to align your feet to the bottom right of the snowball, then jump. This next section is hard to consistently do. Normally, both players grab the moving platform, but obviously we don't have that option. Thankfully, this part is made more manageable by jumping off the spikes. These springs can get us high enough, even with the added weight, as long as we jump off them at the same time that we land on them. I had a lot of trouble getting this carrot, and I'll talk more about this in part 2, but eventually, after many long attempts and many deaths on the slide, and I had to do the beginning so many times. Shout out to that one time it took me 9 minutes to get up the slope, but I'm rise over done with this level, at least for now. I decided to get the last coin I need by finally trying my hand at the time attack, like I should have done from the start. I tried the first 3 levels. They're a little difficult, but still possible, so I'll get back to them later in this video. But for now, level 4 is super easy, and after the time attack coin is collected, world 3 is unlocked. For the first jump of the new world, you can always make it if you grab Craig's tail and roll to the right. Keep holding right here too, and you'll eventually make it back up. From here, the spike isn't really a problem. The only real issue is trying to get across this little pit without falling. I decided to try to use this spike to our advantage, but it turns out it's very pointy, so it's usually more of a detriment than a help. I try to line up a jump that will have the other bunny grab the ledge, but he doesn't quite reach. One time, I even managed to accidentally do a really cool kick. But what's a really cool kick without an equally cool headbutt? By jumping off the spring, we can get the power necessary to make the jump. Even without enough force to make the bunny go to the right, we can just fall down a little bit so that we can kick off the wall and then make our way up. From there, avoid the falling stalactites, get the carrot and turn it in first just in case, and join Craig in the portal. The first jump of level 22 can be a little unpredictable with the wood planks in the way. Normally, ignoring the minecart is the best thing to do and just make the jump without it. Bringing the carrot along is actually difficult since you need to get Craig and the carrot both in the minecart, and when the minecart is about to fall, we need to get out of it so we can kick either of the cargo across the gap. But when I mess this up, I wonder if I really need the carrot or if time attack will fill my coin dependence. Going back to Grassy Hills, I decide to try level 5 first, even though I'm still confident in the first 3 levels being possible. I regret not checking the time attacks out earlier because I easily get at this level on my first try. The jump right here seems like the only one that could be hard to set up, but I make it and get the coin. Level 6 doesn't have one tough jump, rather it has multiple well-timed jumps. The most notable one is right at the end when you have to go up the long, steadily increasing slope. As long as you don't slow down for the jump over the pit, then you should be able to complete the time attack. Level 7 really shows how much better I've gotten at moving while holding the other bunny. Still, this time attack only has 2 jumps that matter. As long as you can jump over the first set of spikes without having to slow down, you've pretty much beat the level. After that, the same thing applies to the other spikes. This one reminds me of my regret for not trying the time attack sooner, because I get this one on my first attempt also. Granted, there is one actually tough jump that I luckily got through. When I hit the spring, I landed in the perfect position to bounce myself over the pit. After that, you can keep rolling and jumping. This one starts off with a really hard jump to do quickly, and you might remember the hill that takes forever to get up near the end of this level, so I think I'll come back to this one for the next part of this video. This one falls into the last level's category of being too difficult to do quickly, so it might not be possible, but I'll see what I can do and mention it in part 2. Level 11, unlike last time, has some obstacles. We have to find the fastest way to get past the snowman. Rolling right into it just takes too much time. Then we have to roll and jump almost perfectly for the rest of the level, and most importantly, on the ice. The best way I found to quickly get through the snowman is to jump off the ice in a way that makes me able to kick his snowball while I'm midair. This lets us get by faster and usually makes the smaller snowball fall so we can roll off it for extra speed. Then we just have to make sure to time our jumps on the ice well enough and we get the time attack coin. This snowball adds so much time to level 12 that I don't think it can be time attacked. Trying to get Craig up the ice in this level takes so much time that I also think that this one can't be time attacked. Level 14 is a maybe, but that's only if I can set this jump up right, so I'll get back to this later. In level 15, we're foiled again by a snowball. Having one of these platforms that move along the spikes basically means that the time attack is impossible, because the ghost can hold onto the platform and kick off it to gain speed, and letting go of Craig to grab the platform and eventually Craig again just takes too much time. Level 17 has the same problem as 16. You might remember how long it takes to get past the first part of this level. You might remember how long this level takes. I'm not even going to show anything, just visualize level 20 and tell me you can time attack that. When I'm back to doing regular levels again, on level 22 I decide not to get the carrot this time, because if I'm not going to need it with all the extra coins I've gotten, then I'm not going to get it, because if it's not necessary, then there's no reason to struggle for it. If we keep rolling right, the stalactites won't hit us, and we can roll into the rock like a normal playthrough. When riding in a minecart, the best way to make it so that we don't fall out during a steep drop is to hold the other bunny like this. I decided to skip the carrot for now in this level too, but I'll come back to it if I need it later. At first, I thought I messed this jump up, but I accidentally saved it. We can either make this falling stalactite fall early, or make sure that when we roll, we don't hit the lantern, which would stop us and just make us get hit. At first, I thought I would have to do something special for this jump every time I attempted it, but it turns out that you can just grab the other bunny and hold right to make it every time. Now we have to find a way to get past these boulders. I try to use the springs, but I think I know an easier way to go about this. It doesn't matter. A good method should be repeatable. When on the other side, I decided to scout ahead alone so no falling stalactites could hit Hot Craig. I actually have to kick Hot Craig away so I can get out and he can get in. Now we can go through the slow and painless process of hitting Hot Craig through the tunnel. Now we can go through the slow and painless process of grief. Once again, I make this place as safe as possible for Hot Craig. All that's left now is a minecart ride and some spikes. For a final time this level, I go on ahead and make sure the stalactites fall before bringing Hot Crag. An interesting thing about this level is that starting in front of the yellow bunny is actually better than starting behind him like we usually do. This is because grabbing his feet and jumping while the combined weight of both bunnies is towards the right is the best way to get over the spikes while also setting up for your next jump. And hey, would you look at that? We're perfectly set up for the next jump. Arms reaching out is exactly what we need to make it. Grabbing the other bunny's stomach is the best way to get under this lamp while still rolling, and it allows us to easily jump these spikes. These next spikes, however, might be an issue. I'm gonna try kicking the other bunny over the spikes, but I learned two important lessons. One, knock back. Two, be accurate. This time I make the kick, but the stalactites are in the way. While trying to move them away, you can see just how unexpectedly lethal they are. This time, I managed to get both of them out. Initially, when making this jump, we have to watch out for the falling boulder, and next, we have to jump this gap. I try to take a calmer approach to this section, so calm in fact that I let a boulder hit me because as long as I'm staying low, it won't push me off, and then I get pushed off. I take an even calmer, calm approach. If the boulders want me, they can have me. Actually, you know what? That's enough boulder touching for me. I'm gonna make a little blockage here. And with those out of the way, I have some much needed time to set up this jump. To ensure safety, when I get this guy over the spikes, I just kick him. We can grab him and we only have one jump left. It takes a while, but eventually I throw him into the spring and he goes in the portal, which means I can join him. I'll finish level 26 in the next part of this video because there are a few sections that are just really hard. At first, level 27 is extremely difficult, but eventually we get to this point right here where it might be impossible. I'm not sure and I want to keep testing stuff out and just keep trying, so I'll let you guys know in the next part. Level 28 is the same situation as the last one, and like the last one, I'll update you next time. Oh, come on, level 29, you too. I finally make the time attack on level 1. Just kidding. I bet you thought I did. Haha. I try a new strat of even more precise jumps, and it works out. The same grabbing the other bunny and jumping as early as possible works out for this level too. I tried this level for a while, and I shaved down my time a lot to the point where I only need a few milliseconds, so I'm gonna try this again on the next part of this video. After getting all those coins, I finally unlocked level 30, but I think I'm going to save that for the next video, and I'm pretty sure this one's possible because I'm just running out of space on my computer. I'll show all the coins that I have, and coins that I might be able to get are shown by the little question mark coin. Keep in mind that I need 60 to unlock the next world.